ค่ะ
ก็ดูแบบอะไรนะมันจะทำ
อาจจะแต่หนูจะพยายามไปเร็วมากในพันหนูไหม summary ก็ไปเร็วๆไม่ต้องแบบไม่ต้องจบ touch point เพราะว่า touch point เรา embed แบบไปแล้วว่าโอเค met target อะไรอย่างงี้ไปperformance ก็ summarize ไปที่
Good afternoon, investors and corporates. Welcome to Digital Roadshow Year-End 2025 Performance Review. This session will run about 45 minutes, including Q&A. During Q&A, investors may leave your questions in the meeting room chat box or open your microphones to ask the question to the company directly. May I now invite PTG Energy Public Company Limited to start the presentation, please.
Thank you and good afternoon. Thank you and good afternoon. Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Roadshow of PTG Energy Public Company Limited and presenting the performance of fourth quarter of 2025 and fiscal year of 2025. Before we go through on today's presentation, I would like to introduce our key speakers today. First is Kun Parame Sawanchok Wanit, Chief Strategy and Transformation Officer.
Good afternoon.
And Kun Pichaya Gongsiri Chuang, Investor Relations, and I'm Lopasan on Investor Relations. So today's agenda, I would like to starting with the key highlights and the overall of fourth quarter of 2025, following by key performance, and then Kun Pichaya will give you the details on financial statements, ESG development, and end it with summary and outlook. So starting with the snapshot of fourth quarter 2025. Our service stations at the end of the year stood at 2,269 substations. And in terms of the sales volume through retail channel, stood at 1,701 million liters and representing a growth of 8.5% Q-over-Q due to the seasonality effects, and also in comparison to the same period last year, it is increased by 2.3% year-over-year as a result of the recovery of the economy. Therefore, our market share remained robust and also increased in comparison to the previous quarter to 22.3%. In terms of our non-oil business touch points, we have 3,857 touch points. The large contribution is from our Kansai Coffee, as we have right now the number of branches ended at 2,151 stores across nations. And to highlight more details, in the past year, we have increased up to 804 stores, which account for equivalent to an increase of 2.2 stores per day. As a result, we have the number of stores in cumulative 2 years of in 2024, we increased by 400 stores, and last year we increased by 800 stores. Therefore, in cumulatively 2 years, we have increased our stores by 1,200 stores. And another part is our membership. Right now, we have 25 million members of PT Max Card. And in terms of financial snapshot, starting with the overall revenue, in fourth quarter, reported at 56,733 million baht, which increased by 5.6% Q-over-Q, aligned with the increase in oil sales volume, and decreased by 3.3% year-over-year as a result of oil business as well. Last year, in comparison of the lower average retail oil price. However, if you look at the gross profit, in this quarter, our gross profit increased by 6.1% Q-on-Q and 23.3% year-over-year. This increase largely from the non-oil business, as I will mentioned earlier, our Pantai, we have increased quite significantly, and therefore our sales also grew by double. And aligned with the gross profit, it is also grew by double as well. And within that, our contribution of Pantai gross profit also increased to 18% in this quarter. And in terms of the non-oil gross profit, in overall in this quarter stood at 40.3%, which is aligned with the growth, aligned with the company target of around 35 to 40%, and this time we hit at the upper bound. And at the EBITDA in this quarter also increased and 23.5% year-on-year to 1,980 million baht, and net profit reported at 365 million baht. In terms of the overall key highlights of fiscal year 2025, I'll start with the oil business. So to give you overview at the past full year of 2025, we have transformed our oil business into multi-retail lifestyle platform, as we have oil and also non-oil business. And as I mentioned that our non-oil GP mix has getting bigger, larger and larger, and that is because that we have expanded our business into non-oil in order to diversify our portfolio, and that will also reduce our risk that rely on oil business. So, however, in this year, oil business still maintain our market share of 22% as a result of a growth of retail channel sales volume grew by 0.3% year-over-year, despite an overall market contraction of 0.9% year-over-year. And in terms of non-oil business, starting with our equity, our Atlas Energy Public Company Limited, our subsidiaries, successfully listing in the Stock Exchange of Thailand. And in terms of the second non-oil business is our Pantai Coffee. Our Pantai Coffee, as I mentioned, that we have at 2,151 stores across the nation. We have transformed ourselves from station coffee into destination coffee, as we have expanded to also PTG service station. And in this year, we have contribution from the outside PTG service station up to 57% of the total stores that we have at 2,000 stores at the moment. And next is our Pantai Boat Noodle that we have established new subsidiaries called Pantai Boat Noodle to operate a restaurant business specializing in boat noodle under the brand called Pantai Boat Noodle. The registered capital is at 50 million baht, and we hold 80% of the total shares through Pantai Coffee. And within this establishment of this business was in order to expanding into food business by leveraging the strength of Pantai Coffee brand through a brand extension strategy. The objective is to diversify products and service to and enhance growth potential within the non-oil business. And the business model will focus on everyday consumption, integrates food and beverage business service within the same area and expand branches both inside and outside service station to increase customer touch points and support a long-term ecosystem growth. So this year, last year we have launched 3 stores in vicinity area, and this year we target to increase up to 50 stores, and that will be locating outside service station of 25 stores in this year. And here's a picture that we have launched back in last year of Pantai Boat Noodle at Klong Luang A branch. And next is our platform, digital platform, which including our PT Max card and PT Max, the MaxMe application that serve as our key enablers. So the MaxMe is the application that our PTA Max card member can use in the online channel where if they hold the physical card, we can bind our card into the online on the app, this application as well. Therefore, whether they are using their privileges through this physical touch points, they can see their remaining privileges of each month by the MaxMe application without using the physical card. And also within this application, we also have the e-wallet function along with earn and burn of the max point. If they have earned the points, they can redeem. They can burn it at the other merchants aside from our own ecosystem brand, but also our partners as well. So other than our MaxMe application, next is our PT Max card that we have launched a flexi benefit. We have expanded the discounts for our customers from 9,000 baht. We expand up to 12,000 baht discount. In this discount, our customers can still pay the same amount of 599 baht per year and can receive the privileges up to 12 months. So the key difference of the card of this benefit can be categorized into three major parts. The first part is to customize your benefits to fit your needs. Our customers can adjust their own privileges through each major business. For example, our oil business, they can use discounts of 50 satang, and they can adjust whether that month they would like to use up to 100 liters or 200 liters. But this adjustment will last long for over 12 months. Or another one is Thai coffee. They can get discount of 15 baht per cups, up to 20 cups per month or 50 cups per month. And another one is the benefit that included in the card. So whether you buy the card, you can get these privileges right away as a default. So for example, the Subway, our customers can get a 50% discount in our when you purchase any 6-inch of sandwich for selected 9 menu items up to 5 baht per month, and that will last long for every month and last long for over the period of 12 months. And the last one is the more exclusive benefit from leading partners. We also have our partners inside the PT Max Card Plus card. Our partners, for example, Grab or Lazada, they can earn a vouchers of 50 baht discount per month, and they can use it over 12 months, but they have to adjust by their own as well. And we also have more and more partners inside the card as well. So you can see details more on the website of our PT Max Card Plus. And in terms of award and recognition of last year, starting with our Fortune Southeast Asia 500, we have ranked at 48. And this is our second consecutive year that we have been ranked in the Fortune Southeast Asia 500. And also in terms of ESG development, our company received the highest ranking of AAA in the SET ESG ratings. In terms of the investment communities, our CEO received the Outstanding CEO of 2025, and also IR team received the Outstanding Investor Relations from SET Awards. And also in terms of HR, we got the best company to work for in Asia. And also in terms, aside from our PTG, our Thai also received the Product of the Year award, along with the Franchise of the Year of 2025. Okay, so let's have a look on the key performance, starting with our overall non-oil business. The number of touch points increased by 335 touch points in comparison to the same period, in comparison to the previous quarter. And this is as a result of Thai coffee that we have increased by 266 branches Q1Q. And in comparison to the same period last year, our touch point increased by 1,014 touch points. And this is as a result of the as I said earlier on, the increase of Thai business touchpoint as well. In terms of the revenue, in this quarter, we have recognized a revenue from non-oil business of 6,518 million baht, an increase of 7.6% Q-on-Q and 20.4% year-on-year. The increase is largely from Thai coffee business as well. As I mentioned that we have increased our touch points by roughly 60% year-on-year, and another 40 to 50% year-on-year derived from same-store sales. And aside from that, in this quarter, we have record the T-Freak 12 of our PP5. In this quarter, we recorded at 140 million baht, which reduced down from same period last year by 75%. And in comparison to the previous quarter, it is increased by 7%. This is as a result that we have still constructing our waste to energy power plant in Songkhla, and therefore we have to record the revenue in accordance to the T-Freak 12 accounting standard, in accordance with the similar amount of in costs as well. So that will not reflect on our GP. But if you look at the revenue, excluding this, the aforementioned of the T-Freak 12 accounting standard, the revenue in this quarter will stood at 6,414 million baht, representing a growth of 31.2% year-on-year and 7% Q-on-Q. And for the whole year, the revenue of non-oil business stood at 23,654 million baht, an increase of 31.7%. And growth also majority derived from our Thai business. In terms of gross profit, in this quarter stood at 1,894 million baht, an increase of 8.8% Q-on-Q and 88.1% year-on-year. This is as a result of Thai as well. And for the whole year, the gross profit reported at 6,482 million baht, an increase of 75.7% year-on-year. With the increase of our gross profit, therefore our contribution of non-oil GP also increased quite significantly. To give you more details, in fourth quarter of last year, our GP mix of non-oil stood at 26.4%. And at the end of fourth quarter this year, our GP mix of non-oil has increased to 40.3%. And in terms of the full year of 2025, our GP mix stood at 37.1%, which is 1/3 of the total alternative energy stations. We have our LPG stations at 245 stations and EV charging station of 202. And in terms of auto care and maintenance, our auto backs, we have 127 branches, and Max Nitron, the lubricant change of 44 points, and max camp raised area of 124 raised area. So let's begin with the Thai coffee. As I mentioned earlier, we have expanded up to 2,151 stores. If you look in terms of the location, we have expanding largely more outside PT service station. Therefore, by the end of the year, our location, our number of branches situated outside PT service station was contributed up to 57% now. And we can clearly say that we are the brand that was not the station coffee. We are the station coffee. And in terms of the model, we are more expanding by our own. Therefore, in terms of the contribution of equity model, still stood at roughly 76%, and remaining is from franchise model. And in terms of the sales, in this quarter, the sales of Thai also increased quite tremendously by 123.7% year over year. And in comparison to the previous quarter, also increased by 7.6% Q on Q. The increase, aside from the store expansion, it is also from same-store sales growth. The company, the Pantai Coffee, also still enhancing the brand and product and services by launching a new product continually. For example, in the fourth quarter of this year, we still support on the local farmer in terms of the coffee bean. Last year, back then, we supported local farmers by procuring the coffee bean from Mae Hong Son province, and we also launched the Taricano. And this year we changed into Nan province. We procuring the taste, we call it taste of Nan, where we procure the coffee beans from Nan province, and we also launching, aside from Taricano, which is a Thailand's Americano, we also expand into a milk mixture, a mixture of milk. For example, Thai espresso, Thai latte, Thai cappuccino. So the taste of Nan is, as we can guarantee that we use the 100% coffee beans from Nan, and this is one of the products that we still have at our Pantai Coffees as well. And by seasonal, we also have a chocolate drink, a drinkable, where we launched back in during the Christmas period. And also, aside from the drinks, we also have a premium products where we collaborated with Disney's Zootopia. And more than that, we also launched a new presenter in order to target more a younger generation. In terms of gross profit, this quarter stood at 840 million baht, also increased by double. And in terms of the full year of the gross profit stood at 2,818 million baht, also increased, aligned with the sales growth by double as well. So in terms of next business will be Kun Pichaya. In the fourth quarter of 2025, you will see that LPG consumption in Thailand was 956 million kilograms, increasing 2.5% Q-over-Q and 0.6% year-over-year, which mainly driven by the household segment and remain the largest segment in the market. On the right-hand side of PTG, sales volume also reached 108 million kilograms, increasing 3.7% Q-over-Q and 1.3% year-over-year, representing growth above the overall market on the left-hand side. The growth came from the most segmented industry sector, which is slightly declined by 1.2% year-over-year due to lower demand from certain customer segments by seasonal factors. And for the whole year, LPG sales volume of PTG grew 7.8% year-over-year to 421 million kilograms, which is significantly higher than the overall market growth of 0.9% year-over-year. And as a result, PTG maintained the first rank in auto LPG market, with share of 32.1% in 2025. Okay. And for the auto bags, at the end of last year, auto bag had 127 branches, which growing 8.5% year-over-year and 1.6% Q-over-Q. Almost 3/4 of these branches are located outside PT service stations. And in terms of revenue, auto bags delivered 407 million baht in this quarter, representing a 43.1% increase year-over-year and 8.6% increase year-over-year. Mainly driven by customers preparing their vehicle for the travel season. In terms of gross profit for the quarter, increased more than 4 times from the fourth quarter 2024 to 99 million baht, while the gross profit margin also improved compared with the last year. This was mainly due to an unusual low rebate recorded in fourth quarter of 2024 from stock adjustment.
But if you see from the last quarter, the improvement was driven by a better product mix with the higher proportions of high margin products. And for the whole year, total revenue reached 1,433 million baht, representing a 42.4% increase year over year. Meanwhile, the gross profit for the year was 327 million baht, increasing 48.6% year over year. As a result, the gross profit margin also improved to 22.8%, comparing to 21.9%. For the next of our business, at the end of last year, we have 2,289 PT service stations nationwide, with over 84% or 1,892 stations at Coco. And on the right-hand side, you will see most new openings this year were in East Bangkok City and following by the Northeast and North to strengthen our presence in urban and high-demand areas. And in fourth quarter of 2025, the total oil consumption in Thailand was 8,901 million liters, increasing 5.4% Q-over-Q, but still declining 1.9% year-over-year, reflecting a seasonal recovery in demand. Meanwhile, the retail channel in Thailand remained relatively stable with a slight increase of 0.3% year-over-year. On the right-hand side, for PTG, oil sales volume in fourth quarter reached 1,728 million liters, increasing 8.6% Q-over-Q and 1.9% year-over-year. The growth was mainly by the retail channel, which expanded 2.3% year-over-year. And in terms of product mix, aside from the seasonal factors that support the sales growth of 11.1% Q-over-Q, the continued expansion of PT Max and PT Mega Plus membership base, particularly among passenger car users, contributed the best in sales growth of 7% year-over-year and 3% Q-over-Q. And for the whole year, PTG recorded total sales volume of 6,685 million liters, remaining relatively stable compared to previous year, despite the overall market contractions nearly 2% year-over-year. And as a result, in fourth quarter of last year, we have market share at 22.3%, which increased from the fourth quarter of 2024 at 21.9% and last quarter at 21.5%. For the next agenda, start with the total revenue of PTG. We reached 56.7 billion baht, increasing 5.6% Q-over-Q, but declining 3.3% year-over-year. This was mainly due to the oil business, which accounts for 88.4% of total revenue, following the 7.6% year-over-year decline in average oil price. Despite this, gross profits increased 6.1% Q-over-Q and 23.3% year-over-year to 4.7 billion baht, was mainly driven by the continued growth of non-oil business, particularly Pan Thai Coffee and LPG business, resulting in the gross profit margin also improved to 8.3%. And for EBITDA for this quarter was 2 billion baht, increasing 17.7% Q-over-Q and 23.5% year-over-year, while net profit reached 385 million baht, doubling on both of Q-over-Q and year-over-year. And for the full year, total revenue at 222 billion baht, slightly decreased by 0.7% year-over-year, which mainly following the decline in global oil price. However, on the gross profit increased 18.4% year-over-year to 17.5 billion baht, supported by the growing contribution from the non-oil business. As a result, the EBITDA grew by 11.3% year-over-year, which in line with our target range of 8 to 12% year-over-year. And for the net profit for the year, reached 1.1 billion baht, increasing 3.1% year-over-year. And for the financial positions, On the left-hand side, at the end of last year, the company had 56.7 billion baht of asset, increasing 4.9 billion baht from the end of 2024. And the mainly factors that driven on asset incremental from 4 factors. First of all, the continued investment in non-oil business expansions and new service stations result in PPE increasing by 2.7 billion baht, while the right-of-use asset increased by 480 million baht. Secondly, cash and cash equivalent increased by 899 million baht, supported by strong operation cash flow. For the third factor, an intangible asset increased by 627 million baht, mainly from the recognition of service concession rights under 312 related to the waste-to-energy power plant project. However, the increase was partially offset by the 641 million baht decrease in inventory, which reflecting the company efficiency management of oil inventory level in line with market conditions. On the right-hand side, the company report liabilities of 45.6 billion baht, increasing 3.1 billion baht or 7.4% from the end of last year, which from 3 factors. First, the long-term loan and debentures increased by 1.8 billion baht to support the company investment and business expansion plans. Secondly, trade payables and other current payable increased by 482 million baht, in line with high purchasing volume and credit management. And the third and the last one from lease liability increased by 525 million baht, consistent with the increase in right-of-use asset, as I mentioned before. So, in terms of shareholder equity, stood at 11.1 billion baht, increasing 19.6% from the last year, which mainly supported by strong operating performance during the year. And let's move to key financial ratio. On the box top left-hand side, you would see that our company maintained a strong profitability while the debt-to-equity ratio declined, reflecting improved debt management. And on the lower left side box, the operating cycle also shortened, supported by the better inventory management. And in terms of cash flow, the operating cash flow for the quarter was 6.6 billion baht, which was sufficient to support investment activity of the 6.6 billion, resulting in the end cash of 3.1 billion baht. And for the dividend payment for 2025, the board has proposed a dividend of 35 sang per share, representing 50% payout of standalone net profit, totaling of 584.5 million baht. Subject to shareholder approval at 2026 AGM on this 24 April, the dividend will be paid on 15 May 2026. And for the ESG development in the last year, the company continued to advance sustainability across environment, social, and governance dimensions, viewing ESG not only as a reporting framework but as an integral part of our business operations. On the other environment side, the company implements several initiatives, including solar rooftop installations and the expansions of EV charging stations. We also promote alternate wetting and drying rice farming and plant over 1,700 trees through CSR initiatives. On the social side, we also receive outstanding human rights award support by income generations for farmers and create employment opportunities for persons with disabilities and the elderly, while working with 111 communities through volunteer program and sustainable Arabica coffee projects. In terms of governance, the company received a 5-star of CGR rating from IEO and achieved a perfect score of 100 in AGM checklist for the last year, reflecting strong corporate governance standards. Moving to the summary of 2025, In overall, you will see that we have more than 6,000 touch points on both oil and non-oil. On the right-hand side, in terms of performance, although the sales volume slightly declined in line with the overall market, in terms of non-oil sales still grew by 31.7% year-over-year, within a range of 30 to 40% year-over-year. If we exclude the LPG business, the non-oil sales growth was 58.2% year-over-year, which also within the revised target range of 50 to 60% year-over-year. And for the gross profits, contribution from non-oil reached 37.1%, which approached the target range of 35 to 40%. And for EBITDA, grew 11.3% year-over-year, within the range of 8 to 12% year-over-year. And building on this momentum, our target for this year is to reach over 7,000 touch points. This includes 2,269 service stations, while non-oil touch point will increase to 4,981 locations. For F&B, Pan Thai Coffee is expected to grow to 2,951 branches, with other F&B touch point reaching 214 locations. For LPG touch point, a target at 836 touch point, and other non-oil touch point at 980 touch point. In terms of performance on the right-hand side, oil sales volume expected to grow by 3 to 5% year-over-year, while non-oil sales are target to grow 30 to 40% year-over-year. At the same time, non-oil gross profit contribution is expected to increase by 40 to 45%. And with the EBITDA growth is expected to grow by 8 to 12% year-over-year. And lastly, for the capex, the company will have set the investment range of 3.5 to 4.5 million baht, which allocated to the Pan Thai Coffee 1 to 1.5 billion baht and LPG 1 to 1.5 billion baht. And for the other business such as oil, other non-oil business and new business, we have allocated to 500 to 1,000 million baht. And that will include the presentation for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions.
Okay, if there is not a question, so let me wrap up the year for 2025. We can see that the non-oil gross profit mix for the year is 37%. But if we look at the Q4 only, it reaches 40% of non-oil gross profit mix. It means that almost half of our gross profit derives from non-oil business. So we can say that 2025 was a year where PTG strengthens its core and also accelerated the transition to an integrated everyday ecosystem. So we can say it's from once a week business to once a day business. And our field network continues to be our backbone of PTG, providing the nationwide coverage, and also the powerful platform for the future non-oil growth. Besides that, with over 20 million members, our loyalty programs has become one of the largest consumer ecosystem in Thailand already. Looking ahead, PTG is focused on 3 priorities. The first one is monetizing our nationwide network. By the end of this year, we expect to expand to 7,000 touch points, including oil and non-oils, by the end of the year. And second is to expand our everyday service ecosystem. And the third one is to leverage our data and our partnerships to accelerate growth. So in conclusion, I would say that PTG is in the process of evolving from a field retailer into an everyday ecosystem platform. So it is quite clear in the numbers that we showed you. And that's all for this presentation and for the wrap up for the year 2025.
So if there is any further questions, thank you everyone for joining the session today, and hope we can meet us again in May of this year for reporting performance of first quarter of this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, we would like to thank you investors and corporate for joining this conference. Thank you very much once again and have a good day ค่ะ
Thank you ครับขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ